Welcome back. It has been a little bit since I mentioned the surrogacy journey that I'm on, and some of you may be like, yeah, and I've been happy about it. And others may be looking for an update. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a very brief update. Our second embryo transfer was scheduled for August 26th, but unfortunately, that cycle got canceled 10 days prior. Oh, we were so close. And I'll keep the details just high level, not bombard you with all the reasoning why, but basically, my body didn't respond to the meds the way that the doctor anticipated. So they canceled it. Yesterday, I received clearance to start the next cycle, and we are currently on track for an October 8th transfer. We're all hopeful that this time we will make it to October 8th and that the transfer will be successful and embryo, baby, and baby will implant and it will develop into a healthy pregnancy. So, if you wouldn't mind, please keep us in your thoughts, in your prayers, that everything goes smoothly this time. I would greatly appreciate that. Now, I have a question for you. Do you know the difference between a thought that is intuition versus an intrusive thought or just plain fear? Inside of Brave Academy, I give multiple tools to my clients to distinguish between the two because I've noticed that people often confuse the two and it leaves them feeling more dysregulated and unsettled and stressed. Now, if you reflect back or you think about children, children are typically highly intuitive, whereas adults tend to be very disconnected from their intuition. That does not have to be permanent, though. It really doesn't have to be that way. The more that you tune into your intuition and the more that you honor your intuition, the more clear it will be and the louder it will be. And the more you'll be like, okay, yes, that's my intuition giving me guidance. Now, inside of my free class on how to ditch anxiety, I actually talk about why adults tend to feel disconnected from their experience. And when I say their experience, I'm incorporating a lot of things into that bucket. That also includes intuition. In that free class, I also tell you exactly what to do about it. Now, today, let's circle back to the distinction between intuition and fear. And I just want to know what comes up for you when I share the following situations. How many of them can you resonate with, or can you somewhat resonate with? Maybe a thought pops up about something that's going to happen to your kids, and it results in you feeling scared or afraid. Or maybe a thought pops up about making a mistake at work or in your business, and your mind jumps to everything being ruined. Or maybe you touch something and then you can't stop thinking about whether or not you're going to get sick, whether it's, a virus or the flu or COVID. Or maybe you find yourself questioning whether or not you can trust one or more people, even if you don't have evidence that you can't. Or maybe a thought pops up about a decision that you made recently and you find yourself questioning everything and wondering, did I make the wrong decision? Was that the right decision? Can you relate to at least one of these or something similar? And if so, to what extent have you felt unsure if this was your intuition or if it was actually fear or an intrusive thought? Or maybe you're listening and you're actually thinking, Steph, I actually feel pretty in tune with my intuition. But you've had the experience where you followed your intuition and then a whole host of emotions came up within days or weeks afterwards. And then you began to question it all. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe that wasn't my intuition. Maybe I shouldn't have made that choice. Either way, I get it. It makes sense that you would question it and that you would feel unsure because most people never learn how to distinguish their fear from their intuition. And I want to help you distinguish these because these moments don't have to feel challenging. You can feel at ease and you can trust yourself more. Now, I'm going to say the real work and the clarity is inside of Brave Academy. But today, let's just dive into three distinctions that I want you to be aware of. First, intuition tends to be a quiet, calm voice, sometimes almost a whisper or a quickly passing thought, especially if you're not practiced in listening to your intuition. On the flip side, fear tends to be loud, an unmistakable voice. Second, intuition doesn't follow a pattern, it is internally generated from you. But on the flip side, fear often follows a pattern and is generated from something happening external to you. For instance, "Oh, I always feel this way when I have a meeting," or "I always get like this before vacation," or "I have so much fear about going on this vacation." It's externally generated versus an internal knowing. And number three, intuition doesn't make sense. Have you ever heard somebody say, "Well, I don't know why I know, I just know"? For whatever reason, as I said that, I had a thought pop up about, gosh, I don't even know if it was like a year ago. There was this submarine situation, and people paid top dollar to go in it. And I can't remember who built it or what it was, but it ended up being a disaster. And there was one person who paid the fee and then last minute didn't go. And in that moment, he just knew and he honored his intuition, which is super admirable. Now, on the flip side, fear makes sense. It's logical. And it is often in terms of avoiding something bad or trying to make something good happen. So, what I want you to do over the next week or two is just take time to slow down and keep an eye out for these distinctions in your thought patterns. And if you need more support on this, just send me a DM with the word intuition on Instagram and I'll get back to you. Now, I have a quick question. Have you been enjoying the podcast? As you think about today's episode and any previous episodes that you've listened to, maybe you've been listening to all of them for months or even more than a year. Would you be willing to submit a quick review or rating? When you do so, it actually increases the likelihood that this podcast will reach more women like you because the platform takes that rating and that review as, "Oh, people like this. Let me push it out to more people." I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and I will see you next week.